The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Wednesday, the 19th day of April, 2023. Welcome to the Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, and Lenders. I'm Jamal Hartman. He's Larry Marshall Jr. and Maya Palacio will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in her news break brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Brother, happy midweek, hump day, Wednesday, all that good stuff. How's it going?
It's going okay, you know. I'm not gonna lie. I'm jealous of you, like, and all this Vegas content stuff. You need to hurry up and finish, so I don't have to see all of that.
Trust me, don't be jealous because you all didn't hear Maya and I communicating earlier when we're busted. Like it's folks. Someone asked, "Do you drink coffee?" I'm like, "But once in my life have I dipped my tongue in coffee." How do you guys keep going? Maya finally, like, as energetic and busy and going and productive as she is, she finally admitted, yesterday, or might have been late the day before, it's catching up with me. I feel myself fading. It's a lot. Yeah. It's a lot to take in, and obviously the time difference. Our bodies are just still on, Atlantic and East Coast time, so it's crazy, man. But it is a lot to be jealous of in terms of what we're learning.
Yes, and I know for me that used to be times and used to kick me. I'm saying, man, it's 7 o'clock and I am loaded. So I get that, and then you got early mornings doing these shows. So I get your point, but I'm still jealous.
Yeah, and I mean, we are catching Sherry up in age. So as Sherry Vanderpool says, the jet lag is real. Yeah, I'm just saying. Maya, you're getting older too, sister. You're getting older too. Folks, welcome to greetings, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we welcome Evan Heyliger on. We're going to be discussing Loquat Learning. So I like the idea of this, I like what I've read about it. So should be an interesting conversation. We always talk about education in Bermuda, and this seems like something on the right track in terms of getting us going. The daily play is music today. Very interesting one. I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to this daily play. It's been pretty interesting so far this week. But folks, don't forget to subscribe to our website, thedailyhour.com. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we continue to do our part to improve our community. That said, let's jump right into the question because we want to have as much of a conversation as possible. We've had two disturbing incidents, really, or court cases, very, very disturbing. Just this week, it was a man who was sentenced to a 30-plus year term in prison because of sexually abusing 2 young girls. And then last week, another man was sentenced for sexually abusing someone that he was trusted to oversee. So the question's very simple. We did ask it on our Instagram. As I said, folks, if you don't follow us on all of our social media channels, please ensure you do so that you can engage on every platform that we do engage. We don't engage in the same way in every platform, so keep that in mind. But the question that was on our Instagram stories is, how can we better protect children from predators? How can we better protect children from predators? I think this is a discussion that is long overdue. We've had some inboxes and things that people hope that we can do on the show to make a difference with this. But what are your thoughts? How can we better protect children from predators?
Do you want to share the Instagram answers?
Yeah,
And
let me share some of the Instagram answers. And honestly, folks, I know this is a very emotional topic for some people. We want to kind of, how can I put it? I understand people's anger in saying this, but I think we also have to be logical in thinking of things. But let's go to the Instagram story and oh, that's Maya. Maya standing in front of a thing says opening doors for women in media and entertainment. Representation matters, folks. But that's
yeah,
the question. The question: how can we better protect children from predators? That's the question. And some of the responses we received is educate them and support them. Right. So let's educate our children and support them. Another answer: educate and keep lines of communication open at all times. Another: engage our kids more and teach them about inappropriate and unacceptable behaviors from adults. We'll touch on that as well. Again, the question is, how can we better protect children from predators? Someone said, as adults, we need to educate ourselves as well as children. Yes, educate ourselves as well as children. Another person says, always be aware of where your children are and who else is there. For instance, sleepovers, things like that. You definitely want to make sure you but I like that one where it said, as adults, we need to educate ourselves, because knowing, like, some adults just probably, I don't want to say are odd, but not everyone grows up in the same space and has the same understanding, right? So keep that in mind. Another person said to the question, how can we better protect children from predators? Let children know what is appropriate behavior and how to resist inappropriate behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Another person said, let children know what inappropriate behavior is. Let children know that inappropriate behavior is not acceptable from anybody, right?
Yeah.
And last one on the Instagram story was, well, this is pretty tough. But again, emotions run high. But someone said, end the predator's life when found guilty. Well, that's not protecting children. That's not a that's after the fact, right? So we're speaking about how can we better protect children from predators. I guess this person's saying, well, if we take one out, then it's one less to worry about preying on other children. But that's the question, folks. What are your thoughts? Obviously, this is a community issue. As stated, we recently had, within the last week, we've had two men in positions of trust who have been sentenced to, I believe it was 16 and 30 plus years for sexually abusing minors. So what are your thoughts? How can we better protect the children in our community? Again, you can visit our Instagram stories to see some of the responses. Adeline Stevenson Swan, she says, to the question, how can we better protect children from predators? She says, teaching children about good touch, bad touch. Well, tell us a bit more about good touch, bad touch. Adeline. Larry, I saw you nodding your head. Yes. Talk to us.
I'm sort of, such a broad question. You can go at it from many different angles. And I guess when I'm preparing, to talk about certain topics, it's easy, and I had to really take myself into a place and really just get quiet. The room was dark, just to think about where I wanted to go with this question. And I came with, first of all, we want protection for all, and we have to teach the children healthy boundaries, and what does healthy boundaries look like. And I think that sort of only lines where Adeline was kind of going. And I have a 4-year-old about to be 5. So, since his understanding communication, we're starting to say, hey, well, during bath time, this is the only time and just what does this look like? How do we do different things? No one is to touch you like this. And you can always say no. No secrets. I think when we talked about some of about the adults educating themselves is you may have older people, here's a candy, but don't tell your mom I gave it. No, we don't want no secrets, because that is something, because that could be an older person, but the older person's brother who's the predator is saying, hey, don't tell your daddy. So they have the same feelings. So I think we just have to really explain what healthy boundaries are.
Mhm.
And, because our children are going to go into different organizations, and we have all these programs, scars, and different things like that. And I feel that, you know, some things are out there, but the children are going to have to be equipped to best use it for the most part. Some people are sick, and that opportunity is just going to be taken, and it's probably nothing that could have been done other than that the predator. But we just want to be, equip them with what's needed.
Yeah, I agree with what you said, and it's interesting because I remember saying to my niece, and she was young, and like, um, you know, remember, if such and such happens, you tell uncle right away, and stuff like that, and you want them to uncle such and such. You want to make them comfortable, but it's interesting because like I want to touch on something you said. Obviously, your son turns 5 soon,
Yeah.
but it's children. Let most of these cases they say happen with people that the children know positions of trust. In Bermuda's context, children grow up taught to respect uncle such and such or aunt so and so. And so almost sometimes they feel like that person is in the same position as their parent or guardian, right? And at what age do like you tell them like, no, only mommy and daddy? You got what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think sometimes we have to go off of what the kid feels. If we're at a family function, I think common practice is, all right, tell everybody bye, go give person a hug. Go. If
Hmm.
they're not comfortable giving this person a hug,
Hmm.
then we as adults shouldn't be forcing that hug. We don't care if that's Uncle so and so that comes over every Sunday if they
Hmm.
don't want to. I have two young nieces. When I see them up at my parents, I'm saying, hey, can Uncle get a hug? You're gonna give Uncle a hug today? If they don't come to me, they don't. You know what I mean? Like, so it's me asking instead of come give Uncle a hug, or doing stuff like that, because I want them to know that they should be comfortable at any stage, and they're young and they're grown. But I think it starts from that early age.
Yeah, indeed, indeed. I definitely agree with that. Like my niece is not the most how can I put it? Friendly. So it's hard to determine, like, you know what I'm saying? She's got that shyness about it if she doesn't know you. You know what I'm saying? If she
Yeah.
knows you, she knows you. But folks, do us a favor. I think this is such an important conversation, as most of them are, but I think this topic in particular, please share the link. Share the if you're watching on YouTube, share it to your WhatsApp friends and family and groups, because I think this is one of those conversations where we need community everywhere. The only way we're going to protect our children is if all of us understand the same signs. If all of us recognize, Larry just said something. Don't force children to hug that person just because that's Uncle so and so. You know what I'm saying? Um, it's things like that, and pick up on who children are willing to hug and those who they may be afraid to hug or touch. Right? Pick up on that stuff, folks. The question is, how can we better protect children from predators in Bermuda? Kenton Trott says, good morning, TDH family. Open age appropriate conversations, education, building trust with our young people is key. Yeah, Larry.
Traveling Truddy says, similar to SCARS training for adults, we need a similar workshop for young people in schools with parental permission.
Mm, yeah. Um, see, I would have not known. I would have thought that SCARS was part of the school system. I just don't know. But I agree with that. I definitely think that's a place to yeah, it's where they spend most of the time, right?
Yeah.
Away, right? Karen Simmons says, with educating children, use the proper words for body parts when
Yeah.
talking to them and not using other words. Also, don't force children to hug and show affection to people they don't want to. Yes, that's consistent with you as well. But speak about the use the proper words for body parts. Are we talking about like, how
Like,
people use slang names for,
yes, the binky or nunu, or
yeah,
there's fun words that they try to make for things, because it, children take it as play. So someone can then use that and exploit it, and then they think it's play, and it's really, as we all know as adults, not play.
Got you. This is key. Another good comment, folks. Again, what the question is, how can we better protect children from predators? Audience, let's get this going. We need some suggestions. We've had two very disgusting and sickening cases that have been made public. Two gentlemen receiving very heavy prison sentences recently, one 16 plus years, the other 30 plus years. Both men were in positions of trust, and they have been convicted and sentenced for sexually abusing children.
I just want to touch on you brought that point up twice, and I actually was gonna bring that up because most people, when we was coming up, we heard so much about stranger danger. And I
Right.
think, that was from the US. We watched the TVs, the commercials. Some of the books we got were from the US, and it was just stranger danger, stranger danger. But as we now know, most predators are people we know and people that are in positions of trust. And we have to be aware of the signs. Um, if your kid is starting to a big shift in behaviors, especially when they go and come, and we're not saying if it's a shift that predator behavior or bad things are happening like that, but we have to investigate. We have to ask the questions. We have to maybe switch up a schedule to see if something different's going on, because we know so many times the kids are sometimes afraid to speak up for fear of somebody's going to get in trouble. So we just have to kind of put ourselves in a mindset that is receptive to all things rather than just you need to do this because, you know what I mean. I think that was something that came up so much when we was going, and then we get to adults and we heard and we're saying that's why they were acting like that.
Yeah. And man, if here's the thing, if we don't know, we can't help, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. If we don't know, we can't help, and it's so easy to judge based on behaviors, but we don't know what's leading to those behaviors. But folks, how can we better protect children from predators? Again, as I stated a number of times today, we've had two men in Bermuda recently receiving heavy prison sentences of 16 and 30 plus years for sexually abusing children that they were in positions of trust with. Sherry Vanderpool says, not everyone is your auntie and uncle. Oh, exactly. Indeed. Manuela John says, read Parent Guardian, they have been found to be predators at times. Children should be given instructions as early as possible. Sherry Vanderpool says, provide a safe and secure environment that allows children to be able to tell.
Yeah.
Karen Simmons says, secrets are dangerous, and also believe children when they say something is wrong and has happened.
Yeah. I these things are so very interesting because I was talking to someone and I was saying, okay, well, what about the children that are in bad situations, bad homes, or hard where someone might not be working and they got a lot of free time, or someone's entrusted to go over the house to cure and stuff's going on? Or do we know that a lot of abuse or alcohol and drug abuse is happening over there? And I think that it comes to, where us as a community, we may have to start to shift the way we see things. And no one wants to call the authorities on this. It's just a cultural thing. I don't want to get no one in trouble and this. But do we stop and think and ask the question, well, it's children over there. What's happening with the children? And if we think about worst case scenario, we probably should be doing a bit more reporting or a bit more, getting involved. And I don't think that our community right now is ready to do that. I think ideally we've talked about parents make sure but what about when the household is broken and it is not ideal?
Well, I want to go to something different real quickly before we get back to the audience. I want to shift something because there's another side to this. There's another side to this where we've had, I know people who have been teachers, right? We have a lot of former teachers who, well, two people part of this show and then in the audience as well, and current educators. And when something happens, right? Remember when, well, I can't say remember when, it still happens, like the gang violence, and some people would say, man, I used to teach him and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
We're in a place where some of the on both sides, you find out a predator, right? You may have taught the predator, right? And you're like, yeah, something weren't right with this person when they were in my class or when they were a student, and it's something we probably should have looked into then, right? And then there's the other side where people are saying, man, I had that child in my class and I knew something could have been wrong. I probably should have said something to the counselor or so on. So I guess the question I have for everyone in the audience, I mean, we're not professionals on this. Obviously, Larry has been an educator. He's been in that space. But one of my questions is, when do we as regular people take those steps? Because the last thing you want to do is, people don't want to feel wrong, like I'm bringing something to the authorities' attention because I'm recognizing something, right? Like, for instance, I've coached. I had this thing when I coached, like, I've been a big brother. We're in that setting. There's no reason for me to give you a ride home. There's no need, like, this is your setting. Your parents need to pick you up here. Like, adults need to set their own parameters. That's how I see it. Set your own parameters right there. Like, no, I am not bringing your child home. You have to come get your child. No, they cannot come to my house until you pick them up. Adults have a responsibility. But how do we report or bring things to people's attention that we may see? And you have people who fear, well, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just a bit off. This is not what's true. You know what I'm saying? I think that's a balance too. And I just don't know. But audience, let's go back to the audience, but think on that real quickly. We've got a few things to go through. Sherry Vanderpool says, please tune into your children, keep open communication, get to know their friends and friends' family. Yes, especially with children going to sleepovers and things like that now and spending time with certain friends. I mean, think about it. And this is true. Your child could be in class with someone whose father is involved in the gun violence, right? Like stuff like that. You have to get to know their friends and family. Rachel Dill says, stop protecting predators. Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. Let's be honest. In a small community like Bermuda, people do feel predators are protected. I hate to say, and folks, it's not that I want to bring it up all the time, but the reality is Bermudians have a tendency to protect not only the predators, but organizations that basically are heavy with those kind of people. The Bermuda Regiment, you all love the regiment. You love the regiment. This is not me talking conscription. This is literally saying, I'll never forget in the mid 2010s, around that time, 2011, Eugene Johnston literally got the Bermuda Regiment to admit sexual abuse. A man being held at knife point, being sexually abused. There was absolutely no reaction from SCARS, from any organization, and definitely no reaction from Bermudians.
Yeah, they wanted to separate the event from the organization.
Yeah, exactly. And I said at that time, if this happened at any private school institution in Bermuda, people would be up in arms. Well, what you think happened a couple months later? That is the responsibility that Bermudians have. Don't ignore it because you love something. If it's your church, if it's your school organization. We saw it happen with one of my organizations, football clubs. Something come to lights. Stop protecting it.
Yeah.
Stop. Don't do that. Because you, at that point, become a bigger part of a community problem that we're having in our country. So all of us need to look in the mirror. Every last one of us needs to look in the mirror and see the role that we're playing in protecting something that is really, really prevalent. And again, we're only speaking about what's been reported, who's been to court. Go ahead, Brent.
Yeah. Ebony Susan says, having frequent, blunt, and open conversations with our young people, sharing our traumas where we can, talking to them about their bodies and feeling. Yes, we have to try avoid raising prejudice too. Oh, that's a very, I mean, I think we may need to get some experts with that. But I will be very interested into answering that whole question, or for us to hear that whole question, Ebony.
Yeah, and again, we definitely do have experts on regularly speaking about these things. Folks, let's go through a couple more questions, and we've got to bring Maya in for the Daily Hour news break. But again, I just feel, based on what's been in the news, we had to have this conversation in this manner. We've got some mirrors to look in. Shami and Richardson said, "Trust your instinct and teach children to trust theirs. If parents have uncomfortable feelings, trust it and make changes. When you know something, say something." Renee Simmons said, "Organizations such as SCAR should regularly visit schools and interact with the children. They have the expertise to detect an abused and violated child as they keep secrets to protect family as well." And Veronica DeGraff says, "A great start is to get SCAR certified. It's free. You don't want to feed into hindsight bias, but you can be more aware of things if you have the training." Look, I'm just going to be blunt. We've had SCARs on. We've had, I forgot her name, the lady from SCARs. I'm going to be very direct. SCARs to this day still has not addressed the sexual abuse in the Bermuda Regiment. I know they may do good things, but we cannot have bias as organizations even when it comes to that stuff. We can't have bias because this is the Queen's thing. Folks, all of us, when I say all of us need to look in the mirror, even those organizations we value who you believe are part of cleaning this up. Because not one person in the audience has talked about SCARs not mentioning that. Not one person in the organization has spoken about like some of the organizations out there to protect children and stuff like that. Keep in mind, we've spoken about in this conversation, we've actually spoken about believing children when they say stuff. So why don't we believe young men who are forced into organizations? Why don't we believe that? I'm not changing the conversation. Again, we have failed to look into the mirror. Everyone's saying SCARs, SCARs, SCARs. The day SCARs, they existed back then. They did exist. So I don't want to hear about they couldn't be involved.
I completely agree with what you're saying. And with these organizations that we have, again, the children have to be trusting and entrusting of them. I think sometimes you say, "Hey, let's get them in the schools." I'm seeing plenty of organizations come in the schools, and the children are just like, "Who's this person? Like, what are they saying?" And they're looking at me. They've been rude all day, but somebody different come in. I'm that person of comfort that they're looking at to go. So I think it's not just a, "Hey, let's get these people in." More involvement does count, but we need to foster more trusting environments. And we brought up a point real fast. You talked about organizations. I remember when I was a coach, I had to have this conversation at the beginning of the training season to establish the boundaries, and that was protection for the children and protection for myself. My good friend Karen Simmons, that's always in the audience, stayed many afternoons with me because we needed two adults to do what we had to do.
Folks, it's been an interesting conversation. We can talk about this even more, but and we'll wrap it up. I'll give some more comments on it later. But again, I think many of the solutions to these problems are within all of us. In order to really help and protect our children, some of us need to put our bias aside. Some of us need to understand the roles we play in protecting people who we love, right? So thank you for your contributions to the conversation. If you appreciated this conversation and this topic, give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. We're going to bring Maya in for the news break. Don't forget, we have Evan Heyliger coming on as part of the Bermuda Youth Connect. We're going to be talking about Loquat Learning. This is another important thing. We keep talking about education and reform, and how Bermuda has more children in private than public schools, and we have organizations like this who are doing work to help educate our young people. So let's bring Maya in for the news break. It's been a rough week, folks. It's been a rough week, but it's been productive. Stick with us. Good morning, dear.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. A little tired, but we push.
Just a little tired?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Maya, I know you are very passionate about topics that like what we discussed this morning. Did you want to share any insight from where you sit as a journalist on this?
Yes, I did. I had some points when you guys talked about what should we do to help children in these situations or prevent these situations. And I had a situation that I know of from friends back in the day, and I just recall trying to find the number for SCARS or trying to find someone to call about the abuse that was happening. And we were really young, and it was just like, because parents weren't doing anything, you know? So I would say having those contact numbers on your phone, like on your child's phone, so they know who to contact, whether it be SCARS or the 24-hour hotline, really, of Center Against Abuse, because then, you know, you get into someone, or even the 211 number for the police. Those numbers should be in children's phones. If they can have iPhones and all that stuff, they can have those numbers on their phone to call immediately if they need. And if there's anyone who is younger watching this show right now, like, that's something you could do right now, like, and something that you could put on your siblings' phones as well, just so they have it in case something happens when you have that conversation. And gosh, there was so much other things, like even how not to raise a predator. Like, that question came up, and I was like, dang, that's a good question. And a lot of it in my mind has to do, and I always go to this, and maybe it's just a thing I go to, but the patriarchy, like, stop raising young boys to lose a virginity, have sex so early, and saying that makes you a man, or like pushing that, because who do you think that they're having sex with at 14, 15 years old? 14, 15-year-old girls, like, you know, and then you judge and blame the girls for being loose or whatever, but you're pressuring these young boys to have sex so early, because if they don't, then they're not a man. Like, it's all this we insinuate, and it's disgusting, because we do that, but we don't want to talk about sex education. We don't want to talk about how to find red flags. We don't want to talk about it in schools. We shy our heads away from it at young age. It's like, talk about it. That's why I had the articles with Kavina. Sorry, passionate.
No, and I know that. And, you know, as Mark Arthur C. Phillips says, good point, Maya. But no, valid points. It's important. And that's why I appreciate the work that you and Kavina are doing on MediaMaya.com and regarding sexual education. It's important. It's something, as I stated the other day, you know, I weren't joking. The closest I came to true sex education was health class, right? We had a white lady, I think her name was Miss Clifford, teaching health. You know, I think who's teaching it to us is important too. We have to take that into consideration, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the news break. Folks, this is definitely a conversation we probably should be having regularly. But what you got in the news for us today, Maya?
All right, good morning, everyone. This is the Daily Hour News Break, brought to you by People's Pharmacy. And my first story comes from a petty request that I actually sent, had to be like 5 to 6 weeks ago. And it had to do regarding sports in Bermuda, grants that different sports receive, who asks for them, and the amount that they get. We talked about this probably a week ago, actually, about what sports are like need more help or need more recognition in Bermuda. So when that conversation came up, I was like, I can't wait for my petty request to come in. So I got it the other day, and here's just a quick overview. In terms of, there are 4 different categories that they sent me. The first one is just regular sport grant. The other is youth grant. The other is grants given as part of the National Junior Sponsorship Program. And the last one is special grants to organizations. So, and this is encompass of all of it. Lowest grant given throughout the period of 2017, 2018 to 2022, 23 was only $850 to the Bermuda Basketball Association in the sports grant youth category.
What are they supposed to do with that?
And that was between 2017 and 2023, basically, those year gaps. And the highest grant given through the 2017-28 through 2022-23 period, and it was just in the sport grant category that was the highest. Would you guys like to guess?
Football.
Marshall?
Cricket.
Okay. You were both wrong.
Track.
Sailing?
It was actually the Sport Anti-Doping Authority since 2017 to 2018 through to 2022, 2023, they have received $3,536,000.
For anti-doping control?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do we have a Do we have a breakdown, Maya, of how much money was allocated to where and what in the anti-doping organization?
No, I did go to the website last night and a little bit this morning. They do have it there in their statistics of revenue of where they got their money from, and it does say one of the grants, which is the highest, that money that they get is from there. I do plan to follow up with them, asking more in depth, like, can you give me a breakdown of where this money is being allocated from these grants? Because they also show different numbers as well. So we'll go into depth with that once I get back home and able to contact. But Jamal, you were right about the second highest was football. It was the Bermuda Football Association in the grant sport category, which is the same category that the Sport Anti-Doping Authority is in. And they were granted between the years of 2017, 2018 to 2022, 23, $1,650,000.
And so my question would be, for that almost 2 million, what are the results that we've received? Like are there any key performance indicators?
Well, I think during that period you have to consider the Gold Cup and qualifying for the Gold Cup, right?
Right. Well, I mean, yes, because that was 2019. But I guess my question is, what are you don't just give people money, right? Like, again, what did the basketball only receive? $850 over that time period. What were their KPIs versus the KPIs for football versus anti-doping? Like, what's the purpose of the anti-doping? Like, do they keep track of anything? Like, I want to know some measurements. I want to know impact. I want to know how we can justify every dollar of the public's purse. So not criticizing anything, folks. Just really want to break down, because this is taxpayers' dollars.
Yeah, and kudos to you, Maya, because I think this is the type of research that we need so we can better understand, and going forward, we can best allocate the resources for success in all sports. So well done.
Ms. Palacio doing what journalists do.
Yeah, and I can't wait to go through it even more with a fine-tooth comb. This was just me looking at it yesterday when I received it, and I was just like going through, what can I say for this morning? But there's a lot of different stats in there. The fact that not even each sport category has all 4 categories. Some just have 1, some have 2. Like, so the amount of money's in different areas where they could be applying for grants. I also did ask, which I didn't receive the answer to, so maybe it's coming a little bit later, but I want to know the clubs that did apply and who got denied, and what the requirements were. Hopefully,
so that will be different, because the national sporting governing bodies will be, I think, for the repetitive request, but I could be wrong.
I'm sorry, I missed that one.
The national sporting governing bodies are probably the ones receiving these funds rather than the clubs.
Possibly. I'll actually send it to you, Marshall. We can go over it together.
Okay.
Okay. I'll try to get through it so that a guest can come in. But Earth Day is April 22nd, and 8 organizations, BUEI, the Bermuda Institute of Ocean Services, Beyond Plastics Bermuda, Gordon Rock, KBB, Bermuda National Trust, Bermuda Ocean Prosperity Program, and Bermuda Environmental Sustainability Task Force are having basically a parish cleanup challenge. It's called Invest in Your Parish, and it's an interactive photo challenge. So you have to download an app and sign up to register within your parish, but basically go out, do something for the environment, take a photo of it, upload it, and then the winner of the parish will actually get assistance in helping with an environmental project that needs to be done within their parish.
I like it. I like these kind of things. And just real quick, I'll be fast, but Maya and I were walking to the production floor yesterday at the conference, and both of us, we saw plastic bags at one. We're like, how are they doing plastic bags at a time like this? But me and Litter, folks, I'm all about, like, I just do my part. I'm not perfect, far from it. I still ride in planes and drive a car with gas, but every little bit helps. Every little thing that you can do that makes a difference, just try to do it. Eliminate this.
I know that if my I know exactly what I want to do, because there's this trash can that is so needed next to one of these bus stops, because people just throw the trash behind the wall and it's like piled up so high and the floor in front of just covers it. But it's just like, just get a trash can there.
Yeah.
Next up on the news this morning, the SDO project. So we talked about this before already, and I mentioned it, but they put out a release about the public is encouraged to follow the proper procedures for submitting objections to the special development order. So in order to do that, to be more clear, when you have to go to planning.gov.bm, because no other objection that you write anywhere else wouldn't be taken into consideration. It has to be done on that platform.
I find it interesting that this government can tell people go through the proper channels. I mean, they forget what they did for the airport. I'm not being funny.
That wasn't this government.
I'm sorry. Political party. Sorry. I fail to see how this political party that's in government can actually tell people go through certain procedures and channels when that political party, when in opposition, promoted and acted on something completely different to get what they wanted. But hey, we're not talking about that. Maya's got more important things to share with us.
My last one coming up, Jamal, if you could throw the photo on, is about the Black Golfers Week in Bermuda. The larger one and Shasta. I'm actually quite excited to be moderating this event, and I got to research both of them a bit. And Shasta is the first African-American golfer on the LPGA tour since 2001. And Olajuwon has like this brand of, if you can see on his sweater there, is a black golfer in a sweat top swinging a golf club, and he has a gold chain on. Now, this idea literally just came from him trying to make a logo to help get sponsors, which he actually couldn't get enough of. And I'm going to go deep into that as to why he thinks he probably didn't, leaving his university. But it's that sweatshirt made a huge statement, and that was a huge brand for him. And it's supposed to like encourage more Black people to get into the sport and to feel more natural about it without having to feel forced to wear like the polos and the khakis or things that just don't represent. So it's going to be an interesting conversation.
Nice and good work, folks. Looking forward to hearing about how that goes for you, Maya. Any word on the weather today?
The weather today is not looking too good. It's supposed to have some occasional showers and rains, but it also mentions that it's supposed to be some possible distant rumble. So maybe some thunder going on today as well, and we have a high of 70 degrees.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. What you got for days of the year, Bert?
Today is Poetry and the Creative Day. The mind needs creative outlets to be happy and healthy, and that's the point of Poetry and the Creative Mind Day.
Maya, you got a poem?
I normally have one poem that I say before I eat. And that's "Rub it up for the grub."
So let me think of a poem.
Save it for the end of the episode. Save it for the end.
Okay, fine. All right, folks. Folks, let us know, what's your favorite poem? Poetry. We've been talking about poetry, art, creativity all week. I think we should do a poem for him by the end of the show, Maya. What you think?
Ain't I a woman?
What?
Maya Angelou.
Oh.
Ain't I a woman?
Makes sense.
That's probably one of my favorites.
Makes sense. To be honest, it was my first tattoo. Still I Rise, Maya Angelou. I mean, that to me, Tupac kind of took it as well, made a song. But by the way, is your name at all tied to her?
No, it's not.
Oh, okay. All right.
But I got it.
All right. Powerful name. All right. Thanks so much, Maya. Have a wonderful day. Get some rest and keep doing what you're doing, my sister.
Good night and good morning at the same time.
Right. All right. Maya Palacio, folks. Thank you so much, Maya. As you saw, technology, folks, she was coming through the Bluetooth with the board just now. So thank you, Maya. We're going to take a quick break. Do not go anywhere. We have got Evan Heyliger coming up. We're talking about Loquat Learning, folks. Another important conversation. We continue to speak about public education reform, making sure our children are receiving the education that they deserve. So this is one of those conversations that we will continue it. And hey, if you haven't already, give us a thumbs up, a love, a like, and make sure you go and follow Maya on her social media channel so you can see even more of the stories that she's sharing on this show. She goes more in depth. Also, Maya has made some extreme connections here in Las Vegas. She's been at AP, Associated Press, NPR, National Public Radio. She has been followed and connected with some, I guess, I don't like the term, but it's a term, but some influencers over here. So she's probably going to be doing a lot of stuff that's really putting Bermuda on the map. So she's worked crazy. I am shocked at how she just keeps going, but I'm really hopeful that she gets to rest today, and as she travels back to Bermuda, you will, ease her up. All right, stick with us. Be right back after this.
Let's face it, life can be a little wild, but shopping doesn't have to be. I choose People's, so that whether it's a prescription that needs to be filled, a toy for my little terror, or a gift for a new addition to the family, we'll see about that. Everything's available in one convenient location. Some call it People's, I call it my one-stop shop in the city. People's, we're here for you.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's next. Else.
Mom's celebrating her 70th birthday next month. Have you noticed her age is catching up with her?
Yeah. Plus, she's having a hard time getting up and around like she's used to. I would sure hate to see her fall.
At Medical House Limited, we can help make life situations easier. We have electric beds, motorized scooters, bath stools, walkers, you name it.
Mom's been real good to us. We'll get her birthday and Christmas gifts from Medical House.
Medical House has relocated next to the Dandytown Field, number 6 Bakery Lane, Pembroke. Telephone 292-3622.
Alrighty, welcome back to the Big Show. Larry Marshall Jr. I'm Jamel Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy. Folks, don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we continue to do our part to improve our community. Just a reminder, there is no live show tomorrow. We'll be back on Friday. We've got Amani Peets from Amani's Cookie Company. So that should be an incredible conversation. He is a brilliant entrepreneur who is striving beyond whatever challenges he has. And so make sure you tune into that. But there is no live show, so you can sleep in tomorrow or go to work on time. So yeah, go to work on time. No blame in the Daily Hour. But without further ado, let's bring in our guest today. Give him a warm TDH welcome for Evan Heyliger. Folks, you know how we do it. Let's do it. Morning. How are you?
Morning. How you guys doing, Mr. Hartman, Mr. Marshall? I'm glad to be here.
I think you are the first person to call me Mr. Hartman on this show, man. I know I'm old, but I'm not Sherry's age. But
I remember it from Sands. So I don't know if he remembers me, but yeah, it's good to see you.
Nice to see you as well. I remember Mr. Trott as well from Sands. I see he's on you as a staff.
I love this.
Nice to see. Shout out to Mr. Trott. Shout out to Maya as well. Maya, so she went to Cedar Bridge. She probably won't remember me as much because I was 1 or 2 years younger. You know how it goes in high school.
Yeah.
But
I love this. I love this. This is why this show exists. This is the community. This guy's connecting with the people of this show. But
for sure.
I love when former students age my colleagues on here. I love it. But thank you for doing this. And be a former student of both Larry Marshall Jr. and Philip Trott is quite incredible. And they are very proud of their students. And Maya, you got Maya laughing at us now, right? Karen Simmons, she says, I remember Evan when he was distance running, Sands and CBA. Oh, okay.
That was a while ago.
It's like, no, not
my knees tremble just when you say that. No, what that used to be.
Got an injury here and there. But Evan, look, we want to talk about some incredible things you're doing, Loquat Learning. But before we get into that, for those who don't know you, just tell us a bit about yourself and what it is that you do.
So now I do two things. No, and it's Loquat Learning. Loquat Learning for me is the passion project for trying to help improve the level of education here at home. Besides that, on a day-to-day, I'm a tennis coach. I travel with a professional tennis player out through the world. Her name's Luana. She's 17. So that I've always been interested in developing young people and following the footsteps a little of the people before me. That's what I'm dedicated my life to until now. And Loquat is just another way to exercise that passion and try to bring some improvements here at home. In the way, and from my experience and from what I know, just traveling the world and whatnot,
Yeah, you briefly touched on it, and told us what Loquat Learning is. But how did it come about?
It came about. Let's say the idea began back when I first started to travel. I went to Argentina on exchange, with Rotary, which was very cool. It was a very eye-opening experience, as you can imagine. After that, I say that's probably when the idea started, but I still wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I went and studied business in Spain and business and economics in Spain. But I started to realize some of the things that may have been missing from my education, which I maintain was an excellent education at, Sumter Primary, San Cedar Bridge. But obviously some things I felt were missing. So I felt like I would be able to bring these things into find a way to bring this into Bermuda, not only, myself trying to teach it or Loquat Learning trying to teach it, but see if we can make it part of the conversation, as you guys say, part of the philosophy of learning and teaching here,
Yeah. You briefly touched on it, but just go into it a bit more detail of why it's so important for Loquat Learning to be up in place.
Yeah, so the philosophy that we have now is we broke learning down into four tenets, four categories. One was, so we call them four literacies, and a couple of them we learn a lot in school. The language and financial literacy are two of our literacies. But the two most important literacies were the ones that are probably the most lacking, which are emotional literacy, or emotional intelligence, which is what, I hope that we can eventually be known for, which is things like, self-awareness, managing relationships, motivating oneself, controlling or marshaling one's emotions, you know what I mean? And health, literacy. I mean, we unfortunately don't have the best statistics when it comes to health in Bermuda, you know what I mean? So this is these two literacies are what eventually we want to be able to focus on and bring to our young people and set them up for success in the future.
I really
that will be important.
I just want to follow up on something. I know we speak about financial literacy a lot, like everyone when we say what's missing from schools, but I'm so happy that you said emotional literacy. I think being one of the top priorities, and I want the audience to really think about what he said in regards to that, because emotional literacy actually solves so many of the other problems, right? If we can have our finances straight, but if our emotions are not in order, if we're not mentally in the right space for whatever reason, we forget about the mentality and depression and things that people go through. So thank you for that work, folks. If you have any questions or comments for Evan, please send them through. We'll get through as many as possible. Go ahead, Ray.
Yeah, and what I appreciate about you is it's coming from someone that's younger. I think sometimes we have these topics and these different things that we want to focus on, and the children just don't relate. So I hopefully that you come with something fresh and good to see. But what is the overall goal for Loquat Learning?
The overall goal for Loquat Learning is, the things that I mentioned very briefly. One is to be able to teach these four literacies to our young people. And then, in a way, as you said, I am, I finished school not too long ago. So I try to when I'm teaching and the people who've worked with me, when we're teaching, to keep it, I said, fresh and engaging for young people so that they have something to motivate them a little bit more. You know what I mean? I said, keep it fun, keep them interested in what they're trying to learn. And the second one is to be able to grow to a point where we can start to influence the type of teaching that we can have on the island, to include more of the, obviously financial literacy is super important. I mean, I studied economics and business, so that's what I went to school for. And health and emotional literacy as well. But I put special focus on the health and the emotional literacy just because one, the other one's a little bit easier to teach in school. Even though we may not teach it the best, it's a little bit easier to teach in school. And if not, you go and you learn it in university. But second, because, and my answers changed a little bit since Loquat Learning started. It's changed a little bit over the past year, just with the explosive growth of artificial intelligence, for example, that the social skills and the emotional skills will probably be if they were the most important before, they're going to be 100 times more important now, because the day-to-day skills of a lot of workers are going to be less important just because they'll have a cheaper machine to do it, unfortunately, at this point. So the people skills, we'll call them, and people skills within of, can I recognize my emotions, marshal them, motivate myself, and discipline myself, focus. And the outward people skills, can I communicate well with others? Can I build relationships? Can I lead? Leadership happens down and up in any organization. There was a definition once. So if you interact with another human being, you're a leader. This is why it's so important for young people. This is our end goal, to try to have this be a basic and fundamental part of our education.
Yeah, and I encourage you, because you're younger, and some of the more seasoned individuals in education may not see your goal and may want to dismiss you because your age. But I want you to keep striving for it, because I like what you're doing. You're saying some things that probably aren't said enough. And I just want you to continue to go. But for those who may be interested, where can they go to learn more about Loquat Learning?
They can go to @Loquat Learning on Instagram, and on Facebook. We have Loquat Learning on Facebook. Our website, we've been lucky to work with a couple of, or with a Bermudian firm to help redo our website. So that's in the process as well, but that's loquatlearning.com. And they could always shoot us a message on @Loquat Learning. We're very open. We respond. You can shoot me a message at Evan Heyliger if you have any type of question. Like I said, we're very open to receive, and always looking for new students to be able to try to help and teach.
All righty. We got questions from the audience. Maya Palacio is asking, what gap in the education system does Loquat Learning fill? What topics do you teach? How do you teach them? You kind of touched on it, but just reiterate for those who may just be tuning in.
No, so this is something I didn't touch on, but I touched on a bit in the article we wrote for the World Gazette. There are a number of ways to implement these concepts in the teaching. So right now we teach language as our base subject, and a couple of reasons for that. One, because language is the most important element for the fundamental piece of emotional intelligence, which is self-awareness. Which is literally, if I can't describe well how I feel, or I can't describe well to be able to communicate this with other people, then I can't be emotionally intelligent. And we also, another side goal of Loquat Learning is to help people be able to expand their borders. Sometimes we can, I traveled a lot, and I feel like it's probably been the biggest education for me. So we've been teaching English and foreign languages, and then we started to teach, obviously, math as well at a fundamental level. The most rewarding one was that we were able to teach actually one or two students with learning difficulties, math, to give them that extra time. So I said, right now we're especially in a small phase where our end goal is definitely to work into being able to teach financial literacy and then health and emotional intelligence, all together.
All righty. Evan Heyliger, thank you so much. Is there anything else you want to emphasize before we let you go? And just remind people one more time how to get in touch with you.
As an emphasis, I would say to people to definitely be, as an emotion, one of the fundamental concepts is empathy, you'll say now. So I'll definitely just, encourage people to be empathetic and touching on the conversation that you guys were having earlier, which is, though, as you said, it's a conversation we should probably have a lot more often, and it's an extremely important conversation to try to, I'll say, listen to your kids, because your kids have a lot to say. I said, even if it's most people aren't going to be in that situation, thank goodness. But I said, try to listen to your kids, try to spend a lot of time with your children. These are the kind of things that can prevent unfortunate situations from happening. And at the end of the day, listening, showing your kids that you care, spending time with them is probably going to be one of the biggest factors in developing emotionally intelligent children, even more than anything that I or you guys can do as people who interact with young people. I said the parents have the most important role, so it will be our call out to the parents to give that extra effort, and it will be rewarded, 1,000-fold in the future. And you guys better than me.
Let's remind people how they can get in touch with you.
I said Loquat Learning is at everything's Loquat Learning, at Loquat Learning on Instagram, Loquat Learning on Facebook, loquatlearning.com. I said I'm at Evan Heyliger if people wanted to reach out to me personally, but I said I'm definitely on the Loquat Learning social medias to be able to respond to any and all questions.
All right, Evan, thank you so much for the conversation. Folks, if you know someone who can benefit from what they're doing, please reach out. If you want more information, reach out. You guys are doing incredible things. Thank you for what you're doing. And look, let's just all together create a better Bermuda. It starts with us. Thanks so much, Evan. Talk soon.
Thank you, guys. This is fun.
Have a great one. Bye.
You too.
All right, folks. Evan Heyliger, if you appreciated the conversation, give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Please don't go anywhere. We're going to come back, give our final thoughts on the discussion and the conversation with Evan after these messages, but there's a daily play as well.
Ordering from ER Fisheries has just gotten simpler. With just a few clicks of a button, you can place an order for next-day delivery or same-day pickup. Our ever-expanding list of offerings now include grocery pantry items, specialty meats, and bread and dairy items. We know things have been hard, and we're here to make planning for your next meal or party easy. Whether you're a vegetarian or a meat eater, we have what you're looking for. And best of all, it can be delivered to your door in 24 hours or less. Go to www.erfisheries.bm and check out our wide range of seafood, beef, lamb, pork, poultry, fruits, vegetables, and plant-based products, all available at reasonable prices. That's www.erfisheries.bm.
Alrighty, folks, welcome back. Thanks again to Evan Heyliger for that conversation and the work that he and his Loquat Learning are doing. Thanks again to the BAC group of companies, Medical House Lindos, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we can have these kind of conversations with you, folks. Time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. Well, it's music today. Rob, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, here we go. Help him out, folks. What did Kenny Rogers tell us that we need to know?
Yeah, but you got me today. Well, I couldn't get the NBA question yesterday.
Someone in the audience is going to get it.
Kenny Rogers. Karen.
We're in Vegas, man. We're in Vegas. Know when to hold 'em.
Yeah.
Know when to fold 'em.
You know, the problem is I know that song, but I didn't know Kenny Rogers sung it. Like, I don't know country like that. So.
Hey, look, Chicarina, you got it. You got it, Mark. Yeah, a classic, right? It was a classic. No, I remember, folks, a lot of people don't know this, though, that I actually really, outside of Radio Disney, started my in-studio career at a country radio station. Yeah, so I did work as a morning show producer at a country radio station, folks. So we got him. Yeah, all that guessing when my music's coming on, all that, we got him. But that was a classic. So I'm gonna share this story, and Maya, don't get mad at me. I'm gonna share this story real quickly before we wrap it up. So yesterday, so we were in Venetian for lunch, and we were leaving. Maya said, Jamal, I'll give you $20 to play on the table. It's like, okay, cool. So $20 minimum. So I put the $20 down. I'm telling you like no lies, right? Then we played 3 games. I don't know if you know how to play roulette. 3 games. Maya told me what numbers to play. She hit all 3 times. Are you hearing me?
What she ended up with? What was it? That's 3 trips. She tripled.
I want to, yeah, $67. I think I'll have to double check with her. 67. So basically triple. But I think what I found incredible is that's not normal. It's not normal.
Yeah, so don't go back and try again 3 times in a row.
Yeah, it's not normal. And like I was looking, and Tamara's like, Jamal, why are you looking at it like that? Because it's not normal. So anyway, needless to say, Phil told me bet on black, and I lost my money. But both times I did it. Maya, I'm not going to put any pressure on her, but hopefully she's got some time to help her brother out today. Yeah, roulette's our game, Nicole Walker. That's the game. That's the game right there. Maya, I think, has figured out the science. But let's wrap it up. Thoughts on discussion, obviously talking about protecting our children from predators, and also the discussion with Evan Heyliger.
Yeah, for the first part, I think it keeps coming back to teaching healthy boundaries to children. And if you as an adult don't know how to teach them or what they are, then seek that out. You know what I mean? I think we assume that everyone knows what healthy boundaries are. We may have to let go of some of the things that were done to us during our upbringing, i.e. the pet names for private parts and keeping secrets or stuff like that. Those are things that occurred. And while it was not ill-intended, people abuse it. So, just all of us finding a way to be in a better place to teach healthy boundaries. With Evan and Loquat Learning, very pleased to see that we have someone younger that's looking to get into this space and do things outside of the box while incorporating it with the fundamentals. You know what I mean? I like how he talked about his teaching it through language, because how are you expected to regulate your emotion if you're not able to communicate? I completely agree with that. So I just want to encourage him. There's going to be some naysayers. I tell him that, but I think we as a community need more opportunities or more organizations like this going forward.
Yeah. As far as the original, the opening discussion regarding protecting children from predators, as I said earlier, we all need to look in the mirror. We need to stop protecting things we love, and things we're told to respect. It's no different from telling children to go and hug or, show some form of affection to people they just don't want to. We have a role to play, and it's on us to change the way the norms of our society to protect children. As far as what Mr. Heyliger in my mouth, Mr. Hartman, as far as he goes, I say this: when young people are doing stuff like this, we need to support them. I totally appreciate the focus on emotional and health. I just love it, because everything is STEM and financial literacy these days. And don't think about the well-being of the individual, right? And so until we appreciate the well-being of individuals, then we're really probably not going to be giving people the best position to be successful in a healthy space. So thank you to him for that. Bert, you got any daily inspiration for us?
I do. And, just sticking on the theme of the opening conversation, Our law enforcement must be given every tool available to protect children from predators, and parents need to know who is living in their community. And the author is Robin Hayes, and inspiration is brought to you by E.R. Fishers.
Yeah, I like that one. Indeed. Folks, please don't forget to subscribe on our website, thedailyhour.com, and follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we continue to do our part to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lindos, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we were to do this with you on a daily basis. Just want to give a shout out, happy belated birthday to Tamara Richardson from People's Pharmacy. Had a birthday yesterday. Hope she has a wonderful and healthy next year of life. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. He's Larry Marshall Jr. We'll be back to do this again with you on Friday. There's no show tomorrow. All right, Friday the 21st. No, we're not off because it's 420. Ain't nobody around here getting down like that. I don't think. All right, I don't think. But he's Larry Marshall Jr. I'm Jamal Hartman. My friends, make it a safe and a great day. We're out. Happy 420 for those who celebrate, I guess.